Hi Nancy, how are you today?
I'm doing all right.
All
Thanks for
right.
asking.
Yeah, welcome in. Before we get started, I just wanted to go over a couple of things. Um, some necessary information that I have to pass along to you. So I am, as a practitioner, I am bound by the laws pertaining to HIPAA. So anything that you share with me will be kept completely in confidentiality unless otherwise stated or indicated by you. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, the only exception to this would be if any information is passed between us that could potentially cause imminent danger to either yourself or to anybody else.
Okay,
Do
makes
you
sense.
do you feel comfortable with that and agree to that?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, thanks, Robert. So just before we get started, we just wanted to get to know you a little bit. Tell us about yourself. You know, what kind of job do you have? If you're married, have kids, anything like that.
Yeah, so my name's Nancy Kaufman. I am just turned 41. Um, I'm a teacher. I teach French and ancient history, and I coach tennis at the high school. Um, I was married, or I guess I technically still am, but I'm separated from my husband Jay right now. Um, let's see. We were married for 20 years, and so this has really been an adjustment with the separation. We have two children. Their names are Lucy and Leo. Lucy's 18 and Leo is 20. Um, I don't know. I'm not religious. I don't know if there's any other information that you need to know.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
So you mentioned the separation of you and your husband. Is that what brings you in today?
Yeah, just trying to figure everything out with that.
Okay,
It's been
and
difficult.
yeah, I understand. How does that? Can you walk me through how that makes you feel?
Um, I mean, it's been 2 months since it was really shocking initially. I mean, things have been rough for us for a while, but about 2 months ago, he just came to me and just said, "I don't want to be married anymore." And I thought he was joking. I couldn't believe that he was serious. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a joke, but now it turns out he was totally serious because we've been separated for 2 months. And usually I'm just a pretty bubbly and happy person, but lately I've just felt depressed and anxious, and I have no energy, and I cry all the time. I'm lonely, and I don't know, it's just making me nervous. I just don't feel like myself.
Yeah, that's really hard. What kind of impacts does this have on the rest of your life?
Like in what way?
Um, Specifically, your children. Is there any impacts on them? Are they still around?
I mean, they're both older. They've both moved out. They're 18 and 20. So, I mean, luckily this didn't happen when they were really young. But yeah, I think they're hanging in there with it.
Okay, that's good.
Are there any other ways that this may have impacted your life that you can think of?
Um, I don't know. I just feel depressed. I'm having a hard time concentrating at work and everything too because I'm just so out of it. Um, I just don't know if we'll get back together, and honestly, I don't really feel hopeful about us getting back together anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely really tough. I imagine that's affected your. It could affect your sleep or diet. Have you seen any of those change since you've gotten this news?
I mean, yeah, like it's hard going to sleep now. I like when I'm actually in bed, I actually seem to sleep pretty well, but I just hate going to sleep alone, and so I just kind of stay up and scroll through my phone or watch shows. I just stay up way too late, which is hard because then I still have to get up early for work to go to teach.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. I don't eat very much anymore. I've lost a few pounds since in the last couple months because it just is hard to cook a whole meal when it's just me. It just feels lonely.
Right.
Definitely.
So how did you and your spouse meet?
Let's see. It's hard to remember that far back. We met 29 years ago while we were in graduate school. He was a teacher also. Well, I guess he still is a teacher. But we both felt we're just so excited and so hopeful to just change the world by educating youth. And I don't know, we were really happy in those days. But over time, we've just grown apart, it seems like. Let's see. We dated for like 6 months, and then we moved in together, and then I got pregnant with our first child and decided to get married right after that.
All right.
And yeah.
Has there ever been any cases of infidelity between you two?
Yeah, on 2 occasions. When the kids were really young, he had an affair for a while with one of our coworkers. And then luckily that ended, but then he had another one just a few years ago. And I told him if he didn't end it that I'd leave him, and I guess that must have worked, because as far as I know, he hasn't had any affairs since then.
That seems like it could be pretty overwhelming. What kind of resources, what kind of outlets do you have to kind of talk about these sorts of things? Do you have friends, support groups, anything like that you're able to attend to or get a place to talk about what's going on?
I mean, honestly, I haven't really had anybody to turn to. That's kind of why I'm here. Like,
Totally.
all of our friends are mutual friends, and I don't want to put them through our awkward marital problems. And I'm not really close with my family, and of course I don't want to burden my children with that.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your personal family. What?
I'm an only child. Let's see, my parents divorced when I was like 10 years old, and that was really hard to go through. I think
Totally.
it kind of messed me up in some ways and made me kind of jaded towards marriage, but I never wanted to put my kids through that, especially when they were young. I didn't want them to go through what I went through with my parents' divorce.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like you're kind of in a difficult position right now because of that. And like you said, you don't have a lot of resources or people to talk to through based on just what you're going through with Jade. So how have you been coping with that?
Probably not well. It's been rough. Sometimes I just get into spirals and just feel so anxious, and I've had a couple occasions where I've gone over to my neighbor's and she's given me a Xanax or 2 for those times that I'm just in anxious spirals and don't know how to cope.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense. Do you have any medical history or any prescriptions you take yourself?
No, I don't really take any other medications other than the occasional Xanax. And honestly, I've been pretty healthy. Like, there's not really much medical history going on.
Have you ever seen a practitioner before, or a therapist before?
I think we went and saw someone about 10 years ago, after one of our children was born. And it kind of helped. We just talked a lot about like communication skills, and it kind of helped me to like communicate my needs to Jay more. But yeah, like neither of us were really like diagnosed with anything, and but I mean, it kind of helped in some ways. Apparently
Totally.
not enough though.
Totally.
Did you ever receive a diagnosis when you had those visits?
No, I don't think either of us did.
Okay, gotcha. So just speaking about how sometimes you get anxious and stuff, do you ever have feelings of like wanting to go to bed and not wake up, or wanting your life to end?
I mean, yeah, pretty often, honestly, that it's just hard when I'm awake at 3 a.m. and not wanting to go to sleep and not wanting to be alone, that, I don't know, I'll like scratch at my arm and just sit there and just wish that I didn't have to wake up and just live another day like this.
Okay, kind of going backwards a little bit, when you and your husband were together still, did you ever feel unsafe with him?
I mean, he never laid a hand on me or anything. I don't think that he would do that, but when he would get really angry sometimes, and there were times where he'd like throw plates at the wall, or he'd like punch the bed or punch pillows or things like that. And sometimes it did like frighten me a little bit, seeing that kind of aggressive side of him.
Okay, what was there any other feelings when that happened? Were you ever afraid for your children?
No, he never really showed that side too much around them, luckily. But it was kind of scary sometimes.
At any point in time during your marriage, was there ever any legal issues or legal follow-up for any of these incidents, either inside or outside the home?
No, because I never felt like it was anything serious enough that I necessarily had to report it, even though it was like a little bit scary at times. Like, nobody ever really was hurt, so I never really reported anything.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy, thanks so much for meeting with us today. We're here for you, and we look forward to our next appointment where we can continue working through the separation and the things that you're feeling, and we're here to support you. So is there a time we can meet back up with you again?
Yeah, like maybe this time next week.
Okay, great. We'll see
Great.
you then.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.